the first panel discussion. We are here in the fantastic company of the winners of the West London Film and TV competition. Yes, Bill. Yes, Bill. Get down on it. Was one of the winners. And joining me on stage. Sorry, I'm Chris Scarrett. I think Richard mentioned I'm the Mayor of London's Film and TV Hub Ambassador. Thank you very much. Thank you. Joining me today, we've got Megan O'Connor from Bollo, Brook Community Centre, who were the winner in the Communities and Social Organisations category. And thank you. Yes, big round of applause. And unfortunately, Idil couldn't make it today. She's delayed, so you're going to have to flying the flag all by yourself. And then also with me, I got Maya Vassal, I have Max McNamara, and I have Sophia Lefebvre, who are from William Morris Sixth Form, who were the winners in the Schools and Colleges category. So thank you for joining us. All right, so it's an open question, and we're going to start with, how did you approach the theme of the competition? Go on, Max. Yeah.
Am I on? Awesome.
I don't know. Can we hear Max? Can we hear Max, please?
Hello. No. Oh, I think we're good now. Hello. I think with this, there's so many different ways to approach this kind of project, but I think from our perspective, we wanted to think about how an audience might feel about our brief, which was West London is a creative place to be. So we wanted to make sure we harness kind of that feeling of joy, and we did that through the medium of dance. We were always going to do a dance. No matter what theme it was going to be dance. But yeah, we just wanted to make sure that we made the audience feel the joy that we do when we think about West London as a creative place.
Nice, thanks. And Megan, how about you? Because yours a very different, contrasting style of filmmaking to these guys. So tell us a bit about that.
Well, I think the main thing that we wanted to show off was just the youth center in general, because it's a very creative place, and we wanted filled with incredible talents, with especially not with just with the music section, because we have our own studio and people go off and make their own music and distribute it and stuff. So we wanted to show off all the talent that was based around the youth center, because we just think not many people know about Bollo Brook, and we wanted to show it off because there's a lot of talent there, and I think that was kind of the main vibe, just kind of a documentary-esque kind of style, just to get the kind of point across and show a meaningful message of, to the whole thing about how you shouldn't judge a book for its cover, and just actually take a look at it, and you'll find something creative in there.
No, I think that's a fair point. And you mentioned the amount of talent you have at the community centre, which brings us on to our next question, which is about how did you determine the roles in your production? And I don't know about you guys, but whenever I'm in a production, it can be a bit tricky. Especially when you're younger, everyone wants to be a director. And as you get a bit older, you go, I don't want to be a director. There's way too much responsibility there. Thank you very much. I'll just sit over there and be an executive producer and take some money. Thank you. But that was not the case. So we kind of threw you in at the deep end. You had to organise your own production teams and crews, determine what you were going to do amongst yourselves. So, Maya, do you want to tell us a little bit how you worked on that?
Okay. So we didn't really give defined roles, but we just wanted everyone to be a part of it. I feel especially for me, I wanted everyone to be in it at some point. You can see all of us in the video at some point through it. And even with post part, when we was editing it and putting it together, it was very collaborative. We thought of everything together. We didn't have arguments about it. We just spoke through what we wanted in it. And even when it came down to cutting it down, we did it together collaboratively. And yeah, it was just group work, really.
Nice. And so let's get the opinion from Sophia. How did you find it? Did you find at any point there were any challenges you had to overcome while you determined the roles in your production team?
Yes. Filming it was with the weather and doing it in outside spaces was a bit difficult. With doing it in March, we were trying to make exciting and colourful and vibrant video, but it was difficult with the overcast and the weather. So yeah, that was definitely a challenge that we overcame.
And what about within your team? Were there any challenges within the team?
No, we all, like, we all agreed mostly, and if we disagreed, we would do it, we'd communicate our feelings and we would decide as like a group. It was nice.
Yeah, and what I'd say is watching this team work, I had the pleasure of mentoring them during part of the process. They were very collaborative, they were very open to discussion, and that was great to see. So that the egos were in check, they understood the need to get stuff done. There was no, I'm better than you. It was very much, we were a team, we will win together or we will lose together, and that was fantastic to see. So yeah, good, well done. I mean, that's not the productions I usually experience. I don't know about anyone else in the room, but. Okay, well let's move on to what were the biggest challenges. And it says working together, but I want to dig into a little bit on the production, because it was a big old ask for you to make that film in such a short amount of time. So tell me, what were the biggest challenges you faced in production? Max, do you want to start on that?
I think a lot of, when you've got like around 5 days to not only just film it, but to do pre and post-production as well, that's so much of an ask, And I think the hardest thing was we had so many ideas, and with a brief that's like creativity in West London, that's such a hard thing to nail down, especially in a film as short as the one we did. So we had loads of ideas, and we had a few brainstorming sessions, but I think the biggest challenge was just trying to narrow it down, because we had so much. I mean, originally it was probably going to be like 10 minutes long, and that just would not have worked. So I think the main thing was just trying to be concise and be time efficient. That is the biggest challenge, I think, in terms of planning it. I think obviously Sophia mentioned some stuff about, environmental issues. I mean, we filmed in Portobello Road, and I was dancing up and down the street. That was definitely nerve-wracking. Would not do again.
Epic, though. Epic.
Thank you very much. But no, it's just, there's so many environmental factors as well you've got to take into consideration. When you're filming, you can't control everything. There's only so much you can keep down to your control. So I think trying to stay adaptable is really helpful, and try and make contingency plans. That's really good as well. But definitely environmental stuff, that was a challenge.
Indeed, we all love the rain. Megan, how about you? So your production was a little bit different in terms of style and where you filmed, but surely some challenges in production still.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of had to just, I think the big thing was just kind of focusing on what exactly we wanted to do, and then also just trying to we didn't really assign people. It was kind of more so if you want to join this project, then you, feel free to. But it was just kind of figuring out who's doing who, what's doing what, what to kind of write about in the interview. And I think for me, it was also just kind of because I feel there was a lot of stuff I wanted to say in what they were saying in their interview, but we had to cut a lot of it out, cut a lot of it out. So it's just kind of figuring out what we kind of want, because also including also with the vibes of it, making sure everything kind of stayed kind of, what's the word, accurate. I don't know if that's the best word.
Authentic?
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, just kind of make sure everything flows together very well, and just kind of, because no, like I said before, it was kind of more serious-esque, kind of more like documentary kind of thing. So it's just kind of trying to get that idea across, but also because there's a lot of use of lighting in the in the film, so we just kind of wanted to make it it's serious, but also it's kind of a happy we're happy kind of vibe and stuff.
Okay, no, nice. And I think what we've probably discovered there is it doesn't matter what style of production you choose or the genre you want to make. There are going to be challenges. There are going to be challenges whenever you film, whenever you produce, long, short, medium, whatever the format, whatever the style, you will have to find a way to overcome those challenges and get the job done. All right, we're going to move on to our final question. Then we're going to take some take some questions from the floor. So, Maya, I'm going to look at you.
Okay.
What are your ambitions as a creative?
Well, I don't really know what exactly I want to get into in the future, and I feel like that's the same for a lot of people as well. Because even before I did this project, I didn't really even understand myself what I was going to do. I just wanted to put myself out there and create something fun with my friends. And so I want to continue to do that, more future projects, especially at school. And yeah, keep putting myself out there and just doing it, really.
And enjoying it.
Yes.
And enjoying it. And so,
It's
Sophia.
very fun.
That's right. And Sophia, and you,
Yeah.
what are your creative ambitions from this point onwards?
Or I'm not 100% sure, but I would love to be in the behind the scenes. I'd love to either do set design or costume design. I think that would be really fun.
She's a fantastic artist. She does not admit it, but she's so good.
Thank you, Max.
Max, obviously you're going to be Sophia's agent, but how about for yourself? What are you going to do?
Well, that's first on the list. I think for me, directing and screenwriting is my life. I think that's all I think about at the end of the day. And I think that's where I'm going. That's where I'm headed. I can't put it any plainly than that. It's just that's how I want to be.
That's amazing. And Megan, how about you? Where are you going to go? What adventures in the creative landscape are you going to take now?
I think at the moment I'm keeping my options kind of open. I would like to focus on editing, but I think I'd like doing editing kind of stuff. But I think my main focus would be more animation-based stuff, because I focus more on 2D animation, 3D animation, and also just the behind-the-scenes stuff surrounding it, storyboards and concept. Obviously, I have to kind of be more specific with what I want to have to do. But I think at the moment, I'm just kind of creating my own projects, just making illustrations, just stuff that I'm personally proud of and stuff, and just seeing how we go from there.
Perfect. I think it's really interesting when we look at the spectrum of creatives on stage. 3 people who have won a film competition are still unsure about what they want to do in their future, and I think that's very common. When I was young, I didn't, I either wanted to be a stuntman or in the army. So, maybe a bit of a synergy there, possibly because I owned an action man. But the truth is, you just don't really know where you're going to end up. And if you need, hey Kate, Catherine, if you take your time, now is the time when you're starting your career to try lots of different things. Because as you get further along your career, changing path becomes harder and harder. I think we've got time for a few questions from the floor. If anyone has a question, put your hand up and we'll try and get you a microphone. Any questions? Come on, test us. You have these amazing talents before you. Yes, there's a gentleman here. Do we have a microphone? Thank you.
Well, hi, hi everyone. I just want to ask you a question about, for all of you, about how, two questions. One about trying to, you have those ideas in your head, and how to get in a way, because there's always the time constraints. How to get that concept that you want to show out to everybody in that time frame, or for example 5 minutes. It says you want to do 30-minute short film, but you can actually do 5 minutes.
So are you asking how we manage getting the ideas out in such a short time frame? Is that the question? So I'm trying to hear you across the room. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. I think what you do ultimately is you on your starting day, whenever you're working on anything, just getting the ideas out there. That's the first step. And I think trusting your gut with stuff that feels right at first. So we had a lot of stuff about we wanted to have something through Portobello. We were really set on that, and just having a bit of a brain vomit at the end of the day to try and put all your ideas out. That's the first step. And then working through and seeing what is essential, what really carries through your message, and thinking about how you want your viewer to feel. If you've got something on there that maybe doesn't contribute as much as something that's really joyous, that's what we were trying to do in this film. I think that's how you eliminate things that maybe aren't as necessary. So that planning stage is really crucial for anything with really short time constraints, and not being afraid to let all your ideas out. That just because your time constraint is short doesn't mean your ideas have to be short as well. They can be grand. It's just about trying to find what is important for your theme. That's what I would say anyway. But
Yeah, and I also feel like planning is the most important part because, as we said, we had 5 days to film and produce all of this. And so you have to like make designated days in which you're going to do everything. Like on our first day, we sat down, was like, okay, what exactly are we going to do? And then we had like 2 days to film everything, and we wanted to keep another 2 days to edit to make it seem perfect and seamless. So planning is one of the most important parts of creating anything.
I think also just to kind of add, being realistic, that's another
Yeah.
massive thing. I mean, we had some pretty interesting ideas, but you gotta be, I always feel like being over realistic rather than way too ambitious is always helpful. So like, just because you think, oh, I might be able to do it, you don't want that. You want to have some nice, rock hard certainty to know, okay, this is definitely achievable in this time. Because the minute you've got a bit of uncertainty, it's out of your control. And there's so many things when you're filming. So when you're out on set or you're, in an environment that's uncertain, like we had rain, we had a bunch of people in our way. There's so much you can't control, so you need to make sure everything you can control is nailed down. That's what I'd say.
Megan, you were going to go.
Yeah, I think also like kind of figuring out like the kind of scope that you want like your film to like do because I think like what everyone here has said, kind of like planning everything, just figuring out like if you need to shoot like stuff outside, what weather will be like, how like busy everything will be. But I think also just if you kind of like, depending on like how many people and how much time you have, if you try to like plan for too much, you might not be able to make it, and I think that also might become disheartening like at the end of it if you're not able to complete it. So I feel like stuff like figuring out what you're able to do, what you can do with the resources you have, and then building idea from that is probably the best way to go handle projects and stuff.
Nice, thank you. Have we got time for one more? Yeah? One more down here, please. Thank you. And then we're going to have to wrap it up. Yeah.
I had a question for Max, because I know that you said you did a dance where you choreographed it. That made me like get into thinking, do you think you would ever consider working sort of behind the scenes or on the scenes of music videos and how they come out?
Can you repeat that a little bit again? Sorry.
Do you think you'd ever get into creating music videos and that sort of thing?
I love music videos so much. I mean, I tell you what, my first like proper exposure to really cool stuff was I think it was Peter Gabriel's Big Time. It's cracking, isn't it? That's a really, I've always loved that kind of stuff. So I think that kind of short form space to make sort of creative work with music, I mean, it is a gold mine. So for me personally, I'd love to do it. And I love being on camera. I love it. It's great. That's me with it, yeah.
Right. Well, listen, Megan, Maya, Max, Sophia, thank you very much for coming up today and telling us about your experiences. I'm sure if you get an opportunity and you want to network with these guys, they'll be around and they can answer some questions. But from everyone, congratulations again on your success. Wish you all the success in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.